Raghunath, are you ready for this?
What?
The wisdom of the sages trainings that are going on.
Where?
At the Eco Village, the Govardhan Eco Village in India.
Why?
To totally transform your life spiritually.
Who?
You, me, Radha Swami's going to be there. Other great teachers are going to be there. Lots of cool people.
How?
You go to wisdomofthesages.com/events. You find all the information there.
Haribo.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Wednesday, everybody. We're going to do our walk on Wednesday tomorrow. We're going to call it a Throwdown Thursday. What do you think about that? We're going to throw down.
I don't know, it sounds like it might
throw
be a little
down
more
mean like hang out, or do we have to wrestle the guy?
Throw down means like this indicates a confrontation. Or I think.
We'll throw down some transcendental info.
All right.
Hey, I want to give a special shout outs to Scott Ronayne, because the other day we were mentioning how like both houses at the farm we had some issues with heating. This house got heat back yesterday, but the other one still didn't, and it was missing a part. We could not get a part, and I was just blurting it out on the show. And this guy does plumbing and heating and listens to the show. He's a regular other from Philadelphia. He's like, I will help you with your heating and plumbing. You let me know. And he FedExed parts to us, which we're getting them today because the entire Bhakti Recovery crew has been taking cold showers, chanting the holy name very loudly, Haribo, and living in a little igloo over there. So I want to thank Scott. I want to thank everybody who just contributes to part of, they see something and they want to be part of something bigger. We really appreciate, we have a really special community here. Wisdom of the Sages is very, very sweet. Good morning, Kaustubha. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Ready to go.
Ready to go? All right. Mara, any announcements today?
Yes, we have Bhakti Recovery Group meetings at 1 and 9:30 p.m. Eastern time today. There's an asana class with Michelle Berger for our Patreon members at 3 p.m. And then this evening at 7 p.m. is an Ayurveda for Fall workshop with Lauren Baptiste.
That's beautiful. All right. Patreon members, sign up for that. If you're not a Patreon member, you know what to do. Patreon.com/Wisdom of the Sages. Hey, we've got our 300-hour advanced Bhakti Yoga training and cultural immersion at the Govardhan Eco Village. We're all going to be there. Me, Mara, Kaustubha, Bobby Marchand, Yogeshwari, Cindy Lunsford. We got an incredible This is our 5th year we're doing this. It's January 4th through the 27th. What a way to spend your new year, right? Wake up in India, hear the parrots chirping, the peacocks cooing, other various tropical birds making their tropical bird sounds. And you can do that studying yoga, harmonium for yoga teachers, Ayurveda, pranayama, everything there. It's an incredible scene, and it's in the beautiful backdrop of the Govardhan Eco Village, hosted by His Holiness Radha Swami, who's coming up this weekend to the farm for our Wisdom of the Sages retreat. So anyway, check that out. Go to raghunath.yoga/300-hour. Or what?
Yeah. I was going to say wisdomofthesages.com/events.
Oh, thank you, Mara. Well, and simultaneously as that goes on, there's 2 other retreats. The first one is the Kirtan Academy, and Seth is going to come on and talk about that tomorrow. And then, of course, our Wisdom of the Sages retreat. And you can also find all the info on that because Kaustubha's giving class. I'm going to be giving class. Dayal Garanga is going to be giving class. We're even trying to figure out how we can get some Bhakti recovery for that as well in India. So anyway, check out wisdomofthesages.com. Go to the events pages, or tab rather. And we already have a very big crew signing up for both these events. And it's an incredible way to start your new year. So just putting that out there. All right. nuggets of the day. So it's Seneca week. And who did we say Seneca was? He was like a European that got raised in Greece.
Well, he was European.
Well, I guess Greece
I
is
think he was
Europe
born in
also.
Spain, but he was raised in Rome.
Oh, raised in Rome. Oh, he's Roman. Oh, he's a Roman Stoic. Gotcha.
Yeah. And he was the advisor to Nero and philosopher in his own right.
Okay, so we do a quote by Seneca this week. We feature we start the show up with a different little nugget of wisdom. So here's what Seneca said about wisdom. He said, "No man was ever wise by chance." Think about that. No man was ever wise by chance. I thought about that when I read it, and I thought, well, that's not true. I know some people are just sort of born sort of wise. Ever meet people like that? They're just a little more wise than the kid next to them. But then I thought, where did that come from? Like sometimes you meet some wise child. Where does that come from? It comes from they've been cultivating wisdom perhaps for lifetimes. Nothing's random in this world. If a kid gets born with some talent, some skill, some depth, some addiction, some rage, these aren't random things. These are things we've been cultivating. So whether it's in this life or a previous life, these things are cultivated and they stay with the living entity. That was my purport on that, Kostuba. What do you think?
Well, I think we have to kind of key in on what do we mean by wisdom, right? He's saying you don't become wise by chance. In what sense, you don't even become learned by chance. It requires discipline and, putting in the hours and so on. But I think even wisdom is something even more special, It's like, you look amongst, the people that who's wise, it means like who has the ability to make good decisions, to always be able to behave in such a way that it brings about the best results, like too often we're controlled, and we behave in ways that don't bring about good results. And a wise person can always, respond in such a way that it brings about the best results. And so, there's a lot went back when we were in our Hermann Hesse week, which is maybe where we got started with this whole weekly thing, going back.
It might have been the Hermann Hesse week was the first.
Yeah. So that book, Siddhartha, which we discussed quite a bit during that week. That book, a real theme in that book is that, like learning is something that one person can give to another, but wisdom is something that someone has to acquire on their own. And it's acquired through like reflecting, like bringing our mind to contemplate certain truths, So I had a couple other quotes here in a similar vein. This is from Einstein. He said, "Wisdom is not a product of schooling, but of the lifelong attempt to acquire it."
You double nuggeting. You're double nuggeting me.
I could triple nugget.
You gonna triple nugget me today?
If you want.
All right, triple nugget me.
And so so this is coming from Arthur Schopenhauer. All right. You're a fan, right?
Oh yeah.
So he's talking about truth, but I think the same thing could be applied to wisdom here. Okay. He says, "Truth that has been merely learned is like an artificial limb, a false tooth, a waxen nose, at best."
What?
Yeah.
Say that again. Say that whole thing again.
Truth that has been merely learned, right? Only learned, right? But it hasn't deepened, right?
Right.
So truth that has been merely learned, you can go into academically learn Bhagavad Gita.
Sure.
Right. Truth that has been merely learned is like an artificial limb, a false tooth, a waxen nose.
A waxen nose.
Like a nose made out of another's flesh. It adheres to us only because it is put on. But truth acquired by thinking of our own, okay, is like a natural limb. It alone really belongs to us. This is the fundamental difference between the thinker and the mere man of learning.
Huh. Right. I've met people who are actually very very smart, so to speak, or straight A's, but they're just not. They're missing like an essential intelligence. Even though they're like, in one sense, they've graduated with high honors, they're missing some depth. depth. You know, the way I understand it is there's knowledge, but unless you really apply it to life, it never becomes wisdom. Like you don't just learn it, you got to live it. That's how we become wise. You can't just, right?
Yeah, live. And you say live, I mean, I think when we go to like Vedanta, when we go to like the Upanishads and so on, you know, what it really, the formula that's given there is that you hear and then you reflect and then you meditate, right? In other words, you have to hear truth.
A 3-part system.
Yeah, and I think when you
Say
say
that
live,
again.
you live.
Say that for a minute.
Say what?
Say that for 1 minute.
Oh,
okay. That's my new thing.
Start
Say
the
it for a minute.
timer.
Say it again and again.
So,
Okay,
you
come
know,
on.
there's a famous verse. I think it's repeated twice in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. At least in general, and this is, it says the self should be realized, should be heard of, reflected on, and meditated upon. By the realization of the self through hearing, reflection, and meditation, all this is known, right? So the idea is that the mind's power, it becomes eroded through this process of listening and then reflecting. And when you say living, I think what you're saying is like you make decisions based on it, right? And you kind of live through them. But here it says living, thinking, and then meditating on. Then going into deep thought, deep thought about, life is so challenging, and it's very difficult not to be controlled by the mind, that the mind has its own algorithms, it has its own patterns that it follows. And the wise person is kind of recognizing that and saying, I got to start to reprogram the algorithm, the choices that I make. I started thinking about algorithms, Raghunath. They're interesting.
Now, you've been thinking. Tell me about algorithms. Tell me about them.
You're interested.
I've been thinking about them too.
Well, the question is, does our mind have its own algorithms?
Well, okay. I get where you're going with this.
Yeah, and so like a good way to think of it, I think, is like take YouTube for instance, right?
Yeah.
Like YouTube, I looked up the algorithms on YouTube. And I found that algorithms, it says YouTube algorithm selects videos for viewers with 2 goals in mind. Finding the right video for each viewer and enticing them to keep watching.
Ooh.
Okay, that's what it's meant to do, right? In other words, it's meant to control us, right? It's meant to keep us locked in.
Right.
And so it says, when we talk about the algorithm for YouTube, we're talking about 3 related but slightly different selection or discovery systems. There's one algorithm to select the videos that are on your YouTube homepage. When you go to your YouTube homepage, it's saying, hey, here's a lot of options for you. Here's a lot of choices for you, right? A lot of directions you can go.
Okay.
And then there's also one that ranks the results for any given search. If you search for something on YouTube.
Right.
And then there's a third one that suggests videos to watch next. Right. Now it's interesting. So it says that YouTube says that in 2022, homepage and suggested videos are usually the top sources of traffic for most channels. Okay. So if we look at those 3, only one of them was when you get to your homepage, what it throws at you. And one of them was when, after you watch a video, what it throws at you to watch next. And the third one was this, that I'm actually searching for something myself. All right. But the most traffic is those that are just thrown at us. It's not even like we're intentionally going there to find something specific. Right. It's just throwing,
pitching it to us,
stuff to us, and we're just following it, like hopelessly.
Yeah.
And so the way that algorithms work is once you choose something once, then the algorithm starts to throw more stuff at you of a similar quality.
I know. That's right. You can tell a lot about a person if you visit their YouTube homepage. You're like, what videos are these you're watching? I didn't know. I didn't pick this one. They just threw it at me. I swear to God, I didn't pick this one.
But you did make a choice, though, right? That made.
I know. You made some choice that made them suggest that one.
And you got to
I'm
be
going to know
really
a lot
careful
about
'cause you click
people's
one time.
minds.
Yeah, you
I know.
click-
You make a mistake, click. Oh,
Yeah.
forget it. They're
yeah,
going
they
to keep
start throwing
suggesting them.
tons of stuff at you.
I know. That's
right?
why it's scary with kids on YouTube.
Yeah.
I always have to check in with my kids. What are you guys doing here? What are you watching?
Right. But our mind is like that, it even, like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu speaks, but yoga texts speak about this, if we get into that cycle, that karmic cycle that it begins with ignorance, right? With avidya. That and I could say like our most fundamental ignorance is we think we need something external to ourselves to be happy, right? Kind of starts there. And that leads to bijam, or the seed of desire, right? And then we follow that desire. We actually act based on it. And then we call that papam, or like some bad karma you get. You do some bad action. And then that's followed by the reaction that you get. And then, but the reaction, it'll play out somehow in our life, but there's a second kind of reaction that's called kutam.
The seed.
Well, bijam is the seed.
Oh, bijam's the seed, and kutam is the.
It's kind of like the disposition that your mind gets shaped, to repeat that activity, to go back, right? So now
that's easy. Yeah, that's easy to understand. For example, if I take some type of hard drug.
Okay.
I was never a hard drug taker, but imagine if you take a hard drug and then you get some intense high from that hard drug. Not only do you get the reaction from that, which is an incredible high and an incredible low, but you get the seed planted in you to do that again.
Yeah.
Like a few years later, someone says, "Hey, you want this drug?" You're like, "Oh, I remember." You get a memory within you. Like, I remember what that was like. There was an intense thing there. Yeah. That's the problem with what is it called? Repeat offenders, or a dog that has broken skin. If he bites you and he's broken skin, that's a problematic dog. That's a problematic criminal. It's very easy for them to do that same crime again because they've already done it once. Huh?
They've tasted it.
They've tasted it. They've tasted blood.
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't know about that. This isn't like that.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, but I like this whole thing. Wisdom. We would say in teacher training, we'd say learn it, live it, give it. Okay. I love that statement. Learn it, live it, give it. You hear something, you learn it, and then you apply it to life. It's no good unless you actually apply it. It's no good if I just have book smarts. I need application. Application is everything. And then to really understand something, you give it away to somebody else. That's very powerful. I'm sure the Bhakti Recovery Group, this is what we're doing here, right? That Bhakti Recovery people, it's like part of the recovery process is you're giving it to other people, and you set yourself in service to other people. And that way it really drills in home. And also it gets that when you're giving something away, also it gets you out of your head and you realize, oh, I'm suffering. Hey, the whole damn world is suffering here. Let me go out and realize, because part of our pain we experience in existence is I'm in isolation in my pain. I'm the only one in pain. And then you start to give, spiritual information out to other people, and you realize everyone's going through their stuff right now too. So yeah, I love this Seneca. Wisdom is not, what is it? Wisdom is not random. Wisdom is not by.
No one became by chance. No one became wise by chance.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, it's kind of like saying, say, we did visit someone's YouTube homepage. All right.
Okay.
And
I'm going to visit yours next time I see you, wise guy. You better be
clean up my history. So say we visited someone's YouTube homepage, and all you saw there was very beautiful, healthy kind of videos, right? Like something that you saw that would make your life more enriched and better, and not junk, right?
Right.
You saw that all that was there was this healthy, beautiful kind of stuff.
Right.
That didn't happen by chance, right?
Their consciousness, they've been searching for those things.
They've been exactly, because they've been searching and repeatedly going back to those kind of things that it makes it all come up on the homepage automatically now, right? The algorithm is just working automatically now.
What do you think's on my homepage? What do you think's on my homepage? Just tell me.
Well, if it's anything like your Instagram page, it probably has like some computer fails and some not computer the marriage fails and automobile accidents and some nature killing and things like that. I don't know. You tell me.
Got some Krishna conscious things. A few of those too. There.
A few of those.
Come on, throw me a little bone in here,
Okay.
sir, Kostuva.
Yeah, but and what I've discovered recently, because I click on one thing that I regret, and then it just starts to come up like crazy. It's insane how much that stuff comes up.
Careful what you click on.
And then you choose. There's a way, like you click on the little buttons, and then it says like, "Don't go back to this channel anymore."
Oh, I didn't
right?
know that. I wish I
Yeah.
knew that.
That's how you clear it up, and you start to that stuff kind of fades. So it doesn't happen by chance. You have to make that effort. And so that's what we have to do with our mind. The mind makes one choice, or the mind wants to contemplate something. The yogi says, you know what? I'm going to hit the three dots and say, I don't want to see that anymore. And sometimes when you click that, you're thinking like, sometimes like you stop. I mean, like sometimes like say, let's on Instagram, you got like someone that you're following there, and you see, you know what? This stuff isn't healthy for me, right?
Yeah.
Right. Maybe it's tempting.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe it's tempting to leave it there. But something you says, you know what? I really don't need. There's nothing good coming out from my following this person. There's nothing valuable.
That's a good way to look at it. There's some unfollows you have to do today, people. What do you think about that, Mara? Who do you got to unfollow?
She's not going to say that
No.
in person live, but
You can tell me later.
Okay.
but there's and in that moment where you're choosing to like, should I unfollow this? There's a moment where you're saying, oh, but I want to see more of this.
Yeah.
But then you have to say, but I don't. And then you click on it, right? Or you unclick it or whatever. You stop following it. And there's kind of like, you become a little stronger there. You become a little bit less of a helpless victim and a little bit more of like a yogi. Like, I decide where my mind goes. Right.
We have to develop those muscles.
Yeah, that's right.
Those renunciation muscles.
Yeah.
Those cutting muscles. Those definitive. Otherwise, we're just planting seeds. These seeds for poor choices.
Yeah.
And they spread. You give in a little. We call it Maya. Opening the door a crack for Maya.
Yeah.
Maya knocks on that door. What do you want? Who is it? It's Maya. There's only one answer when it knocks on the door. Nobody's home. Go away. Don't open the door a little and say, oh, it's Maya. Oh, what do you want, Maya? I'm a little busy today. Don't flirt around with Maya. Just say, no one's home. Go away. It's that simple. Once you open that door a crack, Maya, illusion, sticks her foot right in that door.
There's that thing on Instagram. I don't even know what it's called, but like there's that one that you click on that just starts to show you stuff, right? That you might want to see.
What's it called?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about.
The search page. Somebody knows what it is.
Yeah, it's not even exactly searching, right? But it's like searching, you can go in and type like, I'm looking for this person or this subject or this hashtag. But there's that other thing that it's just it's right up. It's one of your like 5 main choices, something like that. That just starts to show you stuff that it thinks that you want to see, or that.
Yeah,
right?
I get sucked in that thing. I get in that quicksand all the time.
And of course, it's got its own motive. It wants to keep you engaged, right? It wants to keep you there, clicking away, engaged and watching it. So in a sense, sometimes I go there, and sometimes say, hey, because like it's all like bhakti related stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing all right, and then sometimes I go there and I'm like, oh my god, it's like I'm what kind of choices I've been making. It does reflect it, right? It keeps sending back the kind of stuff. So there's that algorithm in the mind. It's gonna you start to make certain choices. It's gonna start throwing that stuff up at you, and before long your mind is just one like helpless scroll. So you don't become wise by chance. It takes discipline. It takes I will exercise my clear intelligence, and that's when we get into Bhagavatam now. This right, this whole allegory is talking about the relationship I have with my own mind, right, and what it starts to throw at me, and the choices that I make, and where it leads. And does it lead to satisfaction, or does it lead to dissatisfaction? So
what's amazing is we know this stuff. A lot of us have we've examined this stuff. We've examined our mind. We've examined our cracks. The cracks in the jug, so to speak, of the mind.
Yeah.
And we still sometimes go there. And I remember when Gopal Chandra he was dying of cancer this year, and he told me, he goes, Raghunath, with all I know, I'm still like, my mind is still getting nonsense on YouTube and nonsense on. He's like, I know. He's like, I'm leaving my body, and I'm still going there. And then we slowly watched him seal up all those cracks as he was preparing to leave his body. But that's how like tempting the material world comes. And I guess, there's grosser diversions and a little more subtle diversions. But the idea is we want to get that mind very placid, very calm, very peaceful, so that the mind is no longer dominating us, overwhelming us. It's just sort of like a cat sitting right next to you, really easy. And then you have a freedom within that mind, and the mind starts to become your friend instead of your enemy.
Then then the algorithm is working for you, right?
Right.
And it's suggesting all these great things that'll be actually helpful for you. And that's when yoga starts. Right? Just like you're saying, like Bhagavad Gita says, the mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. It depends on the choices that you make. And then it'll go into its own algorithms that'll either be helpful or problematic.
All right, my friend. Where are we at? Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tatojayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome in the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Thank you. Mara.
Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 26, Text 10.
Text 10.
Text 10, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So in this way, we were talking about King Puranjana. We're in this allegory.
Mm-hmm.
King Puranjana in the previous chapter was advancing through Vedic rituals in pious ways to live in the material world. And now he's decided, nope, I'm just going to do whatever I want. And it's showing how the person is moving away from Dharma, moving away from good choices, and partaking in these things that actually complicate your algorithms.
Yes.
They bring them to darker and darker places.
And one of the things, he was hurting others, right?
Yeah, one of the things they're saying, like, and when we make these choices that hurt ourselves, generally we're not hurting ourselves in a bubble. We're hurting ourselves, and we're hurting everybody that loves us. Right? There's nothing that I do to myself that's negative or problematic is happening to me alone. I don't live in this universe alone on some island. Whenever I do something abusive to my body, hurtful to my body, etc., it's affecting everybody that's ever invested love to me.
I think you're deep into your recovery. Thinking
it's recovery week here at the farm.
Yeah,
but I think that's true about everything. You know what I mean?
But my point was, even if it's not people that love you, once we make the gratification of our senses and our mind our top priority, in general, we're getting into competition, right, for the resources of that enjoyment, and we begin to hurt others, whether they've invested love in us or not. So
sure.
I'm not denying what you're saying. I think it's real important. But I'm saying, but we're just harming others as we move through life.
But another thing that happens is, suppose there's a person, maybe you don't love them, but they're sort of in your universe, in the periphery of your universe, and you hear that they've done something, problematic, not necessarily, or sort of degraded or, criminal, etc. It does something to your own heart. It sort of like makes you lose faith in life. What's going on with this world? It breaks a little piece of you. In the same way, when people do good things, you feel like, wow, the world is a good place. The world is a healthy place. So, we're all affected by all the actions that are going on in the world around us, and we're sort of carried almost by a current as well, and surroundings.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I was just thinking, in terms of this too, because we're not squirreling, Raghunath. We're right on.
I know you're about to bridesmaid me, aren't you?
Not at all. No. Why? You see? Why do you see it as a competition? We're just talking here, man. I'm not trying to one up you here. I'm just talking.
We gotta get that bridesmaid clip and put it on our Instagram. It's so good.
So, what I was thinking is, we were just in the previous verses. We were reading. It describes that the king is going out hunting and he's killing all kind of animals. Right. As a matter of fact, I think that was the last verse.
Yeah.
And what these great Bhakti acharyas, that these great teachers who are interpreting Bhagavatam are saying, is that this is representing, his going out into the world and in pursuit of his own sense gratification, without caring about the harm that he's causing to others. And specifically, they tied this to, let's call it like womanize if you want, right?
Yeah.
Like that mentality. And so just like on the topic that we're on, it's just like when I see, and you spoke well about this the other day, Raghunath, like how it leads to misogyny, or how it's so callous. Like we might want to be like, a ladies' man, let's say, right? That's like a soft euphemism for it, right? And like a womanizer is like, a one with like a negative connotation. But it's just,
that's what it actually is.
Yeah, we're talking
a
about
womanizer, a sex addict, a pig. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to call it, a ladies' man.
Right.
Like they call it the gentleman's club. It's like a bunch of people with like top hats and a monocle are going in there and a cane. Right. A bunch of local dirtbags are going to the gentleman's club.
So like the interest of the womanizer is in the body of the woman, right? But the way nature's designed is that the woman's emotions are attached to her body too, right?
Yeah, that comes with it.
That comes with it, and so he's like, I'm not so concerned about your emotions. I'm just concerned about how I can, and literally exploit, right? I mean, that is an appropriate word, although it's a strong sounding word, but it's like, you've got resources there in your body that I'm interested in. Okay, but my emotions are connected to that. Yeah,
resources in your
really
body. I've never thought of it like that.
I'm willing to try to like appease your emotions to whatever degree I need to. So I'll say a few things. I'll do what I have to do, so that you'll agree, right? But really, it's a disregard for the emotions, in an effort to kind of exploit the resources that are there.
I was checking out her resources. I've never ever heard it explained that way, but I like it.
But my point, I mean, that's the way Bhagavad Gita explains it. What is it in the let me pull it up in fourth chapter. That what is it? Aparayamitastvanyam prakritim vidime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yedang daryate jigat. Is that the one I'm thinking of?
I don't know.
The one
I don't know so many verses from the fourth chapter, truthfully.
But
in all honesty,
it says, but it says Bhumir Apalanova. You previously said there's earth, water, fire,
seventh chapter,
intelligence, and ego. These are the material elements, and then Aparayang Itastvanyam prakritim vidime param. Hear from me about this prakritim that is param, that is superior to the material energy. That's
who are exploiting. Is that the verse you were looking for? Who is exploiting the resources of this inferior material energy?
That's right. So the body is the inferior material energy, right?
Yeah.
And it's seen as a resource for my enjoyment.
Okay. Yes, right. I know where you're going with that. Yeah. So we're exploiting all the resources, be it other things or people or the earth itself or the trees that are the plants that are growing on it. Yeah. We're just taken for us.
So within that sexual encounter, so much is at play here, right? It's like potentially a man is saying the resources there in the body I'm very interested in. And And the woman is like saying, well, I'm interested too, but I have emotions connected to that body. Like, if I'm not going to be treated in a certain way, then this whole endeavor is going to bring me emotional pain, and there's this tension that's going on. But the wiser person, right? And we say, this wisdom will be lost if your algorithm doesn't have any videos that are coming up there saying, think about this, then you're not thinking about it, right? And if the algorithm is throwing up all these videos of sexual enjoyment, then you're thinking that's, you're making it, your choices are kind of limited now. You only think in that way. And so the wiser person can recognize that I'm beginning to see patterns into how this world is designed, right? That whenever I make the satisfaction of my body or even my mind, like my primary decision-making, the primary factor in the algorithm, then I almost cannot do it without becoming entangled in someone else's pain, right? Taking something.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
It would be a wonderful world if it just kind of all worked without that. And sometimes it seems like it's working.
It doesn't work.
But like say within a romantic relationship, say, hey, this is working, right? It's like, I want you, you want me. It's like it's working, but then at a certain point, some other kind of conflict develops, and then we have to struggle with it, right? So that wiser person is saying, like, I'm finding my happiness from within. It's like an internal thing. I don't need to compete with you, right? I don't need to take from you because I've already got what I need. That's that rare person. That's the wise person in this world, the real sadhu, the real sage, and the only person with a peaceful mind, and the only person that's like able to go deep spiritually because their mind's not controlled by the externals, by the algorithms of the, being fed by the external world.
All right. I like that. I like where you're going with that.
It's a nice topic, right? These computer analogies are so strong, they're so clear.
Yeah. Thank God for computers.
Yeah.
All right, text 10.
At least they're doing that, right?
They're great for analogies. Text 10. In this way, King Purunjana killed many animals, including rabbits, boars, buffalo, bison, black deer, porcupines, and other game animals. After killing, the king became very tired.
Okay, so in other words, after you hurt people and after you just act selfishly enough, hopefully it makes you a little bit sick of yourself.
A little exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been sick of myself with sense gratification. Like, this is sickening. I'm sickened by my behavior.
Even like
after this.
Yeah. Even like on the algorithm, right? Even on oh God, I got to stop watching the stupid stuff on YouTube. I got to stop following this ridiculous stuff on Instagram.
Yeah. That's the thing about sense enjoyment. It just gets, you feel gross after a while. It's like eating an entire thing of ice cream or potato chips. It's like, what have I done?
That's right.
What am I doing?
That's what's happened to the king here, right? This is the king represents the soul. It's turned away from its clearer dharmic intelligence. It's gone out there and just tried to feed itself sense gratification, and now it's harmed others in doing so, and now it wants to turn back.
I'm trying to figure out how to like manage my other, my older kids had like no access at all to videos or phones or anything like that. And I think, I don't know, I blame it on my divorce. There was like a crack in the parenting schematic. And it's just like my little kid got into like a video game on my phone. Okay, you can play one video game. And that has become like, now it's become a little bit all consuming. So my theory was like, you know what? I'm going to give him like indulgence. Okay, do it. Get sick of it. They're not getting sick of it. They're not getting sick of this thing. It's not getting, I thought it'd be like, I'm disgusted in myself. It is like, I know. And I have to, now I'm going back to the world of regulation. And I've been regulating it with shlokas. You learn a shloka, you learn a shloka, you get like an hour on the, something like this, but it's like,
it's a slow process.
Yeah, it's still, there's parenting tactics. You don't have to worry about that thing. You don't have to worry. You just have to take care of your deities. Those are your children. Huh?
I got to take care of my mind, though.
Yeah, you got to take care of your mind. Okay.
Text 11.
Text 11. After this, the king, very much fatigued, hungry and thirsty, returned to his royal palace. After returning, he took a bath and had an appropriate dinner. What does that mean?
I'll tell you what
A
this all means.
vegan restaurant? Then he took rest and thus became freed from all restlessness.
Okay. So the hunger and thirst represent how troubled we feel after living this adharmic life.
Okay, so if you're new to this story, this is an allegory, and Kostuba's shining light on what all these meanings are.
Yeah. So he's hungry and thirsty means like when we abandon dharmic behavior and choices, then we suffer from it and we begin to feel that self-disgust. And so that's represented here by the hunger and the thirst. His returning home means that he's giving up that adharmic activity and beginning to practice dharma again.
Mhm.
His taking a bath, here it says what the acharyas say, great teachers on this say that he did atonement, right? For his, like atonement in the Vedic conception means you call the brahmanas in and you do the rituals, and if you get deep into that ritual, you kind of like purify your mind through it. We have other ways of atoning too, right? Like the 12 step, you go and apologize to people and things like that are there, right? And then eating suitable food. Here it says it means that he gave up meat and liquor. And then after being refreshed, he took rest, which means he became somewhat steady, right? I was controlled. I was scrolling through the junk, or I was behaving in certain ways. And now he's giving that up and he's kind of becoming settled back into Dharma. Okay, text 12.
After this, King Puranjana decorated his body with suitable ornaments. He also smeared scented sandalwood pulp all over his body and put on flower garlands. In this way, he became completely refreshed. After this, he began to search out his queen.
So the decorations are compared to the knowledge of Dharma and knowledge of the self. Right, that's what he's decorating himself with.
So he got back to this point of what was I doing? What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Let me get back on my path here.
Yeah, and sandalwood pulp and garlands they're refreshing, right? They're pure and refreshing. And then returning to the queen means returning to his previous condition, remembering what it was like to have my intelligence fixed in Dharma.
Text 13. After taking his dinner and having his thirst and hunger satisfied, King Puranjana felt some joy within his heart. Instead of being elevated to higher consciousness, he became captivated by Cupid and was moved by a desire to find his wife, who kept him satisfied in his household life.
He wants to reconnect with his dharmic intelligence. I wish I could just make the right decisions. I just wish it was easy for me to live that life. Right. I think all this is probably real appropriate for the
Bhakti recovery.
Yeah.
It's appropriate for everybody, but yes.
But and particularly it's magnified there. So feeling satisfied, joyful, and proud are his impressions of my undharmic life is beginning to let go, right? And his mind being enamored with Cupid means he became eager to find his previous dharmic intelligence, right? That previous clear thinking and, thinking free of this control of material desire. But he didn't see his beautiful wife. She's not right there. Meaning it's not so easy to get that back, right? You start to make a few choices, and that algorithm, it doesn't just go away right away,
Right. There's residual memories stored in. There's a momentum. They say that when a rocket ship takes off, a lot of its energies is in the takeoff itself. It's like to get off the ground. So sometimes just to get back on track, it's even harder than being on track, is just to get out of, it's sort of like pulling out the tooth. The roots are deep. It's a little nerve endings. It hurts a little.
Yeah.
And so it
That's
takes
a great point. Yeah. Or they say, I think even starting a car, like you burn like
more
a ton of gas right when you just starting the car. Right.
Yeah.
And so that, in other words, but that's, that can be hope giving, Raghunath, because it's hard for like, let's say an addict. Let's say a man is addicted to, let's say, like pornography or something like that, right?
That's like the big scroll. Forget scrolling through Instagram. That's sort of like, duh.
Yeah.
That's
And then,
overwhelming, leaving deeper like impressions in the consciousness.
yeah.
And again, highly addictive scrolling through Instagram.
And well, you know, I suppose this could go for any type of addiction, but like at the beginning, it seems like, oh boy, this is going to be really hard to give this up, right?
Right.
But once you start, like you're saying, the starting part is like takes all the energy, and it's easier. That's like the hard part, right? And then it's not as difficult, you know. It's not as difficult once you start to become accustomed to that kind of clearer thinking. You know, it can become natural.
To give it up, you're saying?
Yeah, it seems. Well, what I'm saying is that the energy to turn around is a lot, but then once you get on that path, it's a lot easier. Even with something, let's turn it into a positive thing. Let's say like reading. Let's say I want the habit. I want the good habit of like reading Bhagavad Gita every day, right?
Right.
And you know, okay, I'm going to do it today. And you sit down and you're like, you know what? I'm bored. I can't focus my mind on this. It's just I'm not getting any taste out of this.
Yes.
But you say, but I'm going to stick to this. You know, I'm going to stay disciplined. I'm going to return to it tomorrow, and I'm going to do it again. And you get a similar experience, right? It's like it's not so much different. And then you stick with it more. And by the fourth or fifth or sixth day, or by the second week, you're actually beginning to develop a bit of a taste for it, and it's beginning to stimulate. You're able to focus your mind on it more. It's beginning to stimulate other thoughts that are you know, these really fantastic conversations are going on in your own mind and so on. And so the beginning is hard, but then it becomes easier, you know. Or even something like, say, taking cold showers, right? Like at the first you're like, oh my God, I'll never be able to do this. And then you become accustomed to doing it, and it's not so difficult. It takes less.
Those same things you look forward to.
Yeah, you even look forward to them. That's right.
You look forward to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's special. We're rechanging our tastes, our desires.
Resetting the algorithms.
That's what it is. It's resetting the algorithms. Yeah. Even just like we were saying about Patrick the other day, how Patrick was, you know, he says, you know, I've been sort of getting into bhakti for years, but in really small doses. You know, he used to take Parmananda's yoga classes. He did my teacher training 8 years ago. And he's been coming around to the farm. And now he's like, at this point, we're like, I'm going away for 2 weeks, and I'm really going to miss the association of devotees. Reset the algorithms. Like it's not looking forward to the first flying first class is exciting, but the heart of hearts wants something different. It wants association of spiritually minded people. You know, we reset our algorithms with our food, with our diet, with our concept of vacation, with our concept of what entertainment is, with our concept of what a meal is, right? With our concept of what fun is. Let's go out and have some fun, you know, with our concept of how late do I want to stay up? There's a time where I just want to stay up late. Right. When you're a kid or a teenager, I like to now it's like, I love to go to bed early because I love to wake up early. It's resetting everything in our spiritual life. And very often it's the opposite of what I used to do, the complete opposite.
That's right. Because the mind, it's telling us what will make us happy, but that program is very random. It can easily be, maybe not easily, but it can be programmed the other way. Right. It's just, you know, imagine if, let's say we decided, okay, taking a cold shower is going to be a refreshing, healthy thing for me in the morning, right?
Yeah.
But and I have a decision to make. Tomorrow morning, do you want to take a cold shower? And what I have based, like the information that I'm going to base this on is I'm going to go to YouTube. And when I go to YouTube, it throws up 14 different videos of people suffering due to having to take a cold shower. Right? And they're all like, oh my God, this is terrible. Or what if I went there and it threw up 15 videos of like people like
Wim Hof swimming underwater, under ice.
Yeah, like
I can do this.
And they're coming out of that water and they're feeling alive and they're feeling great, you know. So that's basically, you know, when you associate, this is why association with like spiritual people is so important. Because when you associate with spiritual people, they become your algorithm, and they're throwing all kind of positive videos your way, like they're throwing like, I want to be like that. I want to be more renounced. I want to be more devoted. I don't want to engage in these ways. I do want to engage in those ways because I see this person doing it and they're happy and I want to be more like them. They're making good decisions, So they're throwing out all those positive images, all that positive imagery in your way, and it's helping make that choice easy, right? What you click on in your life.
Mhm. What are you going to click on today? What are you going to click on, Kastuba? If I could peer into that mind of
For me to
yours.
know. Only
Next time I see your cell phone, I'm
I
going to
don't-
be like,
I'm definitely gonna. Before I go
YouTube
upstate in a couple
homepage.
days, I'm definitely
You're going to
clear
lock
out
your,
my
change the
history.
code on your phone, clear
my history. Okay.
I'll tell you what's on my homepage. You could probably predict it. Mara probably can figure that out.
Okay. Do we have more time? Yeah, we got some.
You
more
have
time.
5 minutes.
We got 5 minutes. I mean, maybe that's a not takeaway time.
You're taking away early nowadays, Charlie. I've been noting that.
I do have like 30 people here at the farm here.
Okay. We're gonna do a takeaway then, or takeaway time. You got some takeaways, Mara?
I do. I got some good stuff.
Good stuff. Okay, good.
Wisdom requires discipline and self-control.
Yes.
Learning can be given, but wisdom is acquired by reflection.
Learning can be given. Okay, all right. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Learn it, live it, give it.
I like that. Sexy,
That's
fun,
true.
catchy.
Yeah.
Sexy, fun, catchy. Tattoo it.
Okay.
How about hear, reflect, and meditate?
Boring. No. No, that's good. That's a good one.
Reprogram the algorithm of the mind.
Yeah, I like that one.
Develop the renunciation muscles.
Yeah.
Flex
Work
them.
those. Work those.
Work them. What
Work
did
'em.
you say? What was it, Mary? Say it again.
Develop the renunciation
think
muscles.
work 'em, right? Work
Work
the
out the
muscles.
Work it. Work it.
Yeah. Okay. Don't open the door for Maya.
She's, I hear her knocking, but she can't come in.
Okay.
Decorate with Dharma.
Decorate the Dharma.
Everyone does not need to be followed with a song, right? I just want to let you know that as much as we love them.
And be careful what you click on.
Be careful.
Ooh, that is a great t-shirt. Careful what you click on. Careful what you click on. I'm going to say that all day today. Careful what you click on. 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 Because it's coming back to reprogram your algorithms. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is what we do every day. Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing it on a regular basis, making it fun, making it relevant, keeping it deep. It's got to go deep. Thank God for the Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank God for God.